Good evening, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa ahlan wa sahlan bikum in this class on commercial translation. So, uh, if you remember, we had a kind of introduction about the foundation of translation, and also we talked about the let's say the methods of translation, types of translation, and so on and so forth. Today we are going to talk about commercial translation, or the so-called business translation, economic translation. Actually, these are different concepts that refer to one entity. So here we are going to talk about this type of increased, let's say, interest in other types of translation, which is called a commercial translation. Actually, if we look into the realm of translation, we will find that there is a kind of increased need for the translation of economics text due to the globalization and the proliferation of companies worldwide. So actually, when we look into this type of need, we can say that commercial translation, as an entity, as a kind of approach of translation, is a kind of professional translation of, let's say, documents, texts used in business, commerce, finance, and corporate, let's say, communication. It also can include a broad range of materials such as business correspondences, contracts, invoices, marketing, brochures, financial reports, advertising, sorry, content, product descriptions, company profiles. So, based on this, we can say that this type of, let's say, this type of translation, which is commercial translation, has a goal to facilitate clear, accurate, and culturally appropriate communication between business on the one hand and stakeholders across linguistic boundaries. So also, we can also in this regard say that in this context, I mean, it combines this type of commercial translation combines linguistic competence with domain. Let's say it can combine linguistic competence, which is the abstract competence, the abstract knowledge, innate knowledge of the language, with a domain specific, with a specific, let's say, knowledge, requiring translators to understand not just language, but also commercial terminologies, business practices, and sometimes legal or financial systems. So this has actually led to more cooperation and, let's say, and partnership between business organizations internationally, more translations made for documents, as we said, related to loans, purchasing, shares, establishing multinational companies. So economic translation is required for marketing and commerce, banking and investment sectors. So the insurance industry, accounting, auditing, and marketing research. So the commercial translation is, or plays a crucial, based on this, role in the today's interconnected world. Its importance include, for example, as we said, it includes facilitating international trade, like companies working together across borders and depend on accurate translations of contracts, purchase agreements, and let's say, and tenders. It also enables global communication, in the sense that multinational corporations require multilingual documents for partners, clients, and employees. Moreover, we can have a kind of brand expansion in terms of translation or translating promotional materials and websites that allows companies to enter new markets effectively. At the legal level, uh, we can see that it can maintain legal and financial clarity in the sense that errors in financial reports or contracts can result in lawsuits or loss of business credibility. So here we can find that it deals with various types of documents, such as we said that various types of documents such as business plans, blocks of tender documents, invoices, account statements, consignment bills, offers, credit requests, guarantee letters, feasibility reports, audit reports, and other financial reports, and many other documents. So we have actually here, we have a kind of overview on the such type of commercial translation, and also we shouldn't forget. The cultural mediation, which is very important in the sense that commercial translators also serve a cultural mediators, ensuring that texts are both linguistically and culturally appropriate for the target audience. Also, it is important before we get into the features here of commercial discourse uh, to have a kind of a look at the motivation and the let's say how the motivation for how this type of translation is needed. So actually we can have let's say different levels of motivation. So we can say that this motivation comes from economic necessity and the strategic expansion. So global market access, for example, business must engage clients and partners in their native languages to increase competitiveness. Also, it can be a kind of, or it can maintain a kind of regulatory compliance in the sense that many countries require translated documentation for legal, for tax or financial compliance, and also the customer or the consumer preference for consumer preference. So recent research has shown that consistently shows that customers prefer to purchase products and services presented in their native language, especially in the European context, where there is a kind of severe competitiveness among the European languages, especially when English is available. And also for the it's important for the sake of brand image and professionalism. So high quality translation improves corporate image and builds trust with let's say international audience. And also we shouldn't forget the digital lieu, which is very important in the sense that there is a kind of the so-called e-commerce. So the rise of the e-commerce and digital platforms pushes, let's say, businesses to translate user interfaces, terms of service, and let's say and something like promotional campaigns. So actually, this can have a huge amount of importance in terms of how translation can be important in this sense, and it should be also motivated cross linguistically and also in terms of reflections where we can have, for example, let's say, reflections that, let's say, are related to ethics and confidentiality, for example. For example, we have many commercial documents contain sensitive financial or legal information. So translators must maintain strict confidentiality in this scenario. Also, it is very important to talk about the cognitive strategic skills. So translators must balance, actually, must make a kind of balance, must balance literal accuracy, let's say, with a stylistic appropriateness. So they have also to make a kind of adjusting the message to appeal to the target audience. Is there any role in this regard for the tone and voice? I think translating a marketing campaign requires recreating the persuasive force of the original, not merely, let's say, translating words. We have also other reflections related to interdisciplinary nature, like the idea of having commercial translation that requires knowledge in areas such as accounting, marketing, law, IT, depending on the document type. Uh, so here, actually, it is very important to look and have an idea about this type of trend or this type of translation. So here uh, we have features of the called commercial discourse. So when we talk about commercial discourse, actually, we talk about specialized, let's say, use of language in business and commercial contexts. So it encompasses all forms of spoken and written communication because it is a kind of discourse. So it is beyond the paragraph and beyond the text. And it serves commercial purposes, including advertisements, contracts, let's say, financial reports, business negotiations, promotional, let's say, materials, customer communications, company reports, and so on and so forth. Uh, Emails, product description. What makes it, let's say, distinguished a little bit is that it is a goal-oriented, persuasive, and often transactional form of discourse because it aims at achieving a specific economic or business outcomes. So we can say that here in this part, that this type of discourse draws on a unique set of lexical, grammatical, pragmatic features, and is often marked, characterized by precision, clarity, خصوصا or especially in the legal or financial documents. It has a persuasive force, persuasive strategies in marketing text, maybe formal tone in business correspondences. Maybe it is cultural sensitive, rhetoric in cross border communication. So in general, it is a kind of global discourse, and this globalization has led to the emergence of many loan words coming from other languages. Like here, when we look into, for example, the English, when we look into the English discourse here, right, that the loan words are taken from different languages, like French, Italian, German, Japanese, Greek, Spanish. So the enterprising spirit of English people and their fondness of travel, colonization, as well as the great development of their commerce, have brought in miscellaneous words from every quarter of the world. So this actually has motivated different, actually, loan words coming into play as a kind of or as a reflection for commercial discourse, which is central to the functioning of modern economies. I mean, the commercial discourse, because it enables communication in areas such as trade, marketing, finance, corporate governance, and maybe customer engagement. So it does matter in this sense because it drives economic transactions, as we said, whether it is a sales pitch or a shareholder report. Commercial discourse facilitates the exchange of goods, services, capital, and so on and so forth. Maybe it supports international business, which is effective, which where in which, I mean, the effective discourse bridges cultural and linguistic gaps. It shapes the maybe it shapes the public perception because corporate identity, brand trust, market positioning, كلهم, all of them depend on the effectiveness of business communication. Maybe it also ensures legal and ethical clarity, as we said previously. So here we have a look at the this type of commercial discourse. Uh, Maybe the mastery. It is important to look into some pedagogical, some let's say educational reflections or levels of the mastery of the commercial discourse. Who it has a kind of practical uh, as well as strategic reasons. For example, we have the need for professional communication, which is يعني, الaudience awareness is very important. It is very important because the business needs, or businesses in general, need to tailor their messages to specific stakeholders, clients, investors, regulators, or حتى even the public يعني. Is there a kind of consistency? طبعا الماstery of commercial discourse maybe can improve internal workflows and external messaging. Revenue طبعا revenue, it can help in the revenue and the growth because effective commercial discourse can persuade customers, it can influence investors, it can maybe it can close let's say deals. So as we said, in terms of pedagogical or academic perspective, studying this type of discourse supports is very important. It is sensitive, it's critical because, as we said, it supports translation, intercultural communication, and the professional uh, professional writing, which is very important. So let's stop here and we will proceed later.